It's welcome back to Good Day for Republican Presidential Nominee Ronald Reagan. Good morning, Governor. How are you?
Good morning. Just fine.
We spoke last time as you were preparing to leave for Iowa. Well, since Iowa, and last week we had Senator Kennedy on, you and Senator Kennedy were listed as the victims of Iowa.
Yes.
Well, what's your reaction to that?
Well, it's
You look
true.
like a pretty healthy victim, but go ahead.
Yes, it's true. Would have liked to have taken it. It's really a caucus or a straw vote. It's a beauty contest. The real purpose of those caucus meetings is to select delegates for the state convention. Now, I lost the beauty contest by a little under 2 percentage points, but I won 62 of the counties, and George only won 32 of the counties.
So that doesn't mean you've lost the delegates necessarily.
That's right. I don't feel totally defeated.
But you have changed your strategy, and you said that perhaps you did make a mistake by not debating there.
Yes, I felt so strongly and have for so many years and fought for party unity, and I suppose it goes back to the experience when our party was totally shattered and fractionalized, and I just felt that, and said in advance, that anything that pitted Republicans against Republicans in a primary, other than just the normal election processes, I didn't favor, and that I thought it could be divisive, lend itself to polarizing the people into groups and go back to where we were. Well, they had the debate. It didn't do that, and I have to say maybe the party's done better than I've thought with all my preaching. It's together, and it didn't divide it, and so I'm not going to stand out there alone. Yeah, I'll be in the debates.
Were you surprised at the Bush strength in their organization?
Not at all, because they moved in there 8 months before I even became a candidate. And as a matter of fact, I understand he bought a house and took up residence there. So we knew we had a very strong organization, and we knew that we never have had the hierarchy of the party there. We just have the people.
This week, you celebrated your 69th birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
And you have had to address yourself to that age situation.
Yeah.
It's been forced on you. You had to answer it, and you've come out quite candidly about it. Do you think, though, it is that negative a factor?
No, I don't. I think there are people who are trying to make it that, but I don't think it is. I think there's something to be said for experience and maturity, and maybe we need some of that in Washington today.
How does it feel in New Hampshire, the mood of the people and the ones that you have been meeting?
Well, of course, you can only judge by those you meet. And yesterday we had a bus tour through the state. I don't know how many stops.
I know one of them, you were at the Bush headquarters.
That's right. Found out that the woman who runs the Bush headquarters, she told one of our people that she wanted a Reagan button. So I decided to deliver it personally.
All right, but getting back to the feel you have.
Well, there was great enthusiasm. And you couldn't help but come away feeling good. But then you have to keep reminding yourself, well, maybe it's because the people who come to see me are for me. On the other hand, I did have the experience at several of the stops of people after hearing me, because I did question and answer. I let them have at me with whatever they wanted to know. I had several people come up at some of the stops and tell me, I was not convinced when I came in here. I am convinced now. I will work for you.
Last week, Senator Kennedy opened up, as it was reported by several columnists, the Carter foreign policy model. He took the cork out of the bottle, allowing the Republicans, as well as his Democratic opponents, to criticize. As far as the events are today, how do you feel about the Carter policy?
Well, I've been criticizing it for quite some time. Now, it is true that none of us have answered the question, well, what would you do about the hostages if you were there?
Right.
Because I think that's a dangerous answer, too. You don't have all the information he has. You might be saying something that is in the planning and you would upset it. Or you might say something that would trigger further harm to the hostages. But as to criticizing what brought about the situation, yes, I think his foreign policy has been vacillating. I think it has been weak. I think it has sent signals to the Soviet Union and to others that they can do anything they want to us. And it has been one that has led our allies to wonder whether they can depend on us. Now, he did not stand up for the Shah and that government at the time of the revolution. And we have what we have today. I think that that revolution could have failed had we stood by an ally that had been our ally for 37 years. On the other hand, also, they, in the revolution, invaded our embassy once. Why he took no precautions before the Shah came here for the medical treatment, with regard to our embassy, either more protection or close that embassy and remove the people, he has to answer for.
The president has been accused of saber rattling right now. Do you think he is?
Well, I think he's playing politics with the situation right now, and I don't understand some of the confusing statements. I agree that there should be a presence in the Middle East. I was calling for it before he did, that we should show the flag. We should have some air power in there. We should have some naval stations on Oman and Somalia, there in the Arabian Sea. And we should do what they're now doing, and that is restate that treaty with Pakistan, and I suggested an American presence there.
Are you in favor of the draft registration?
No, because I don't think that it will hasten producing a draft army at all. I've studied that. When the idea of registering in advance first came up a long time ago, I studied and found out that you would only cut a few days at most off the time needed if there was an emergency and you had to draft young men for the Army. So you'd create a bureaucracy to handle all this paperwork having to do with the postcard registration, but you wouldn't get that draft army in the field in the event of an emergency more than a couple of days earlier. What we really need, and he's not even mentioning, is we have a very weak reserve today. We don't have a first-line reserve of the size and the combat readiness that we should have, and that includes National Guard elements and other elements of the reserve. We need a great promotion program to build up an active reserve to support the active Army.
One final question, Governor. I want to talk about the mood of the country. In Los Angeles this week, it was announced that spanking has been reintroduced in schools there with parental permission. In the state of Massachusetts, prayer in school. And you told me one that I was not aware of in the state of Washington, where spanking was introduced. But they weren't spanking enough of the right sex.
Yes, HEW said they take the federal funds away because they weren't spanking the boys and girls in equal numbers.
I see. All right. That sounds ludicrous on the face of it, but it indicates a mood of the country, or does it?
Yes, I think it does. And I think I could make a case, but we don't have time for you, that the decline in the quality of federal or of public school education began when federal aid became federal interference. It is time to get the federal government out of the classroom and turn it back to where the school, we built the greatest public school system in history, and that is the local school district. And I believe in prayer, voluntary prayer in the public schools.
Will you make a prediction on New Hampshire?
No, it's going to be close, and it's going to be tough, and I'm treating it as an uphill fight.
Thank you very much, Governor Reagan. We'll be back in just a second.